my name is Taylor Smith, and my assignment was the employee handbook. And first I'm going to talk about what we read in our book, which was that the employee handbook should be a resource for employees to know the terms and policy of the company, and the handbook should also be very clear and concise. This way there is no reason for misunderstanding or low employee morale or any kind of legal issues, that everything is basically spelled out in black and white what the employer expects out of the employees. At the end of the handbook, the employees should sign an agreement, which then tells the employer that the employees have read the terms of the employee handbook and have understood it, and they know all the terms and policies and what they should and should not do. There should also be a welcome note and a mission statement so that the employees know all about the company. And there should also be a disclaimer in the handbook that indicates that even though they sign the contract at the end, then it's not considered a contract for employment, that they still can get fired after training or something like that. So according to Somerville, the handbook should also avoid terms like terms and conditions of employment or seniority. They should also avoid referring to periods as like probation period. So they should use like orientation or training or trial period. This is better because if you're saying like training, it means like you could still get fired after training or after your trial period. But if you're on probation, it kind of gives the thought that, oh, I'll still have a job after this, when really you might not. So it just avoids from some legal issues. In the article that I found, it was on chicagobusiness.com, and it focused more on the agreements of use of the internet and personal email in the workplace, which I thought went really well with our discussion boards, which is why I chose it. Also, there weren't very many articles because basically a lot of them just were how to write an employee handbook and all that stuff, but this one actually had like employees that broke the contract. But in the article, like I said, it focuses more on internet and personal emails in the workplace. It started by talking about this company, an advertising company, where their employee handbook said that there was a no tolerance, like no nonsense policy for sending personal emails or surfing the internet in the employee handbook, and also it incorporates use the inappropriate use of the internet will lead to employees getting fired. The employees of this company also signed an agreement for the computers to be properly used and to be very responsible. The owner of this company does not want her employees like wasting time on the computer, or some personal emails could be sent out that could cause a lot of legal issues also. There wasn't anything in the article about like if she actually had to enforce this rule. It was mostly about just her handbook, but it did give examples of companies that did have to deal with this rule, like the New York Times. They fired 23 employees for sending offensive jokes through their email, and the jokes were in violation in the policies of the employee handbook, which was like that they can't send out personal emails, and it was caught by the employer monitoring the emails that were sent out. There was also an oil company who did not monitor their emails, and in the agreement of the employee handbook that said that like you were able to use it for personal use, and they ended up having to pay $2.2 million in a settlement because they did not monitor their emails, and some employees were getting sexually harassed through their emails. So just like to show the other side, since it's not in their employee handbook, they had a lot of legal issues. So because of that, now companies are enforcing a rule in their employee handbook, and according to my article, 45% of companies are monitoring employees' emails and their internet use, while 55% of companies have their software blocked for unauthorized use. So like if you weren't authorized to use the internet or send out an email. You're not allowed to use like the internet at all. And 29% of companies have block sites that they feel are inappropriate for the workplace, like Facebook or I don't know, YouTube, I guess. There is a reason for the employee handbook. I feel it's very important to have an employee handbook. The last place I worked did not have an employee handbook, and it was chaos. There was change of rules all the time. No one liked, nobody knew all the rules. Like, you would tell people that worked on Monday a new rule, and people that worked on Tuesday had no idea about it. So it's very important, I feel it's very important to have an employee handbook, because without it, sometimes the employees are very lost. And that can lead to legal issues, because you can fire somebody without even knowing that they are breaking the rules. So I feel that it's very important. The reasons are not only to like scare the, I guess as a scare tactic, to scare the employees into feeling like they have to do a good job or they will get fired, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's also to have a safe environment in the workplace, like no sexual harassment emails or offensive jokes. Also, it's very important because emails can contain viruses, or if you send out a large enough email that it can crash the system. So it's important to have like those terms recognized, because it can also interrupt the flow of the workplace, and it'll take lots of money and time to get it fixed, which some places don't have. The policies are good for the company. It is important to stick to the rules and to enforce it, because if you don't enforce it, then employees will still think that they can get away with anything. So whatever's in the employee handbook, you should be able to enforce it. But it's very important to have an employee handbook, because it also protects the company from legal issues. So that's it. Thank you. Also, this isn't part of my presentation, but I totally didn't know where to send my paper, so I put it in my discussion board, and I put it under Ask the Teacher. So I just want to make sure you got it. If you didn't, I'll also email you. Okay, bye.